You're watching KO.
Tonight, two former Albuquerque police officers accused of taking part in a DWI scheme have agreed to plea deals. Officers Joshua Montano and Honorio Alva Jr. were formerly part of APD's DWI unit.
Tonight, they are admitting to taking bribes in exchange for getting DWI cases dismissed. They admit to working with a paralegal at a defense attorney's law office to get this done. And we believe that defense attorney is Thomas Clear III. Let's get to Brittany Costello, part of our 4 Investigates team that has been following this case for a year now. So, Brittany, these former officers admitting to being key players in what the FBI has described as a criminal enterprise for many years now.
Yeah, really shortly after they both started working in APD's DWI unit. They say the paralegal made them feel comfortable by sharing with them just how deep the roster went in this scheme. They mention other high-ranking department leaders. It really just took off from there. Officer Montano would stop people, this is what the plea agreement says, and would initiate a traffic stop with the DWI suspect, and then they had a playbook of sorts. In today's plea, he admits to referring the suspects he stopped to Mendez, that's the paralegal. He says he was paid to miss both criminal and MVD court hearings. The payments varied depending on the suspect's criminal history. Sometimes he got cash, hotel rooms, and free legal services. Montano says he would take MVD documents and driver's license and hand it off to Mendez, who would tell the suspects they could get rid of their DWI.
First, I was completely confused. I didn't understand why he was doing this because I knew it was wrong.
Now, Montano admits in this plea that other officers in the unit were part of this scheme and would recruit and train the next generation of officers in what's being called a criminal enterprise. Tessa?
Brittany, thanks so much. We actually have already heard from the attorney for Joshua Montano. Lisa Tarraco sent us a statement saying today Joshua Montano appeared in federal court and fully admitted his involvement in the DWI scandal. He regrets his actions and is deeply remorseful. He knows he let down his community and he failed to uphold his duty as a police officer. He apologizes to the community and to his family and friends. We have U.S. Attorney for New Mexico, Alex Ubaez, who is overseeing this investigation along with the FBI. Thank you so much for being here and giving us some more insight. Again, we are more than a year since the public learned about this investigation. We've had 3 plea deals in a matter of a week. Is this kind of what we can maybe start to expect seeing? Is this kind of like a waterfall metaphor, so to speak, that others will be coming?
Absolutely. It's a very non-traditional way of approaching cases. The public is used to us bringing complaints and indictments and then watching a court battle unfold over usually years. What they're getting instead here is convictions, which is the end of the line for each of these 3 people who've accepted responsibility. And as you see them coming and increasing in frequency, I think you can expect that more will follow.
A lot of people have really just been outraged by the allegations in this case because, you know, as well as everybody else, drunk driving is a generational killer in New Mexico. These officers, at least the 2 who have pleaded guilty so far, swore to go into a unit to find these people endangering our families on the roads, and they're taking money, hotel rooms, meals to get these people off. What do we do to try and ensure public trust? Are these not convictions but plea deals maybe the first step in ensuring that it's not all a good old boy system here?
Absolutely. I mean, our democracy, our government depends on the trust of the faith of the people who watch us, not just in law enforcement, but across the board, and trust us in law enforcement and in our government to do the right thing. It's our highest calling in federal law enforcement to ensure that trust. And so although it's a double-edged sword, although this is an indication of a long-standing scheme to really exploit people, to put people in danger, it's also evidence that there are people watching and there are people who will hold them to account.
Have you seen anything like this in all of your years of being an officer of the court, something that you're investigating this many years, this many suspects?
This is a really unique investigation, and that's why it's panning out in this really unique way.
Yeah, a year already that you've been investigating. And then finally, being an officer of the court, we know that one paralegal has already taken a plea deal in this case. There's a co-conspirator that we believe to be a local defense attorney. People are asking if attorneys, plural, could be facing charges as well. Is that part of the waterfall from what you can share at this point?
It could be. This is obviously an ongoing investigation. And so while these 3 people, as I said, is the end of their cases, more is yet to come.
And these are serious charges. The time that the sentencing guidelines that are already in these plea agreements, can you speak to what that looks like at all, just based on the what's in the law, the crimes that they are pleading guilty
Absolutely.
to?
They're all laid out in the plea agreements, but each of these carry 10 or 20 years of potential incarceration. Of course, that's going to be changed in the sentencing guidelines depending on various factors that make it more serious, such as the official nature of the RICO conspiracy itself. And so we anticipate all these things will be taken into consideration by the sentencing court.
Being a New Mexican who lives and works here, and thinking of the potential drunk drivers who have either had cases dismissed because of this scheme, or the cases have had to be thrown out because of credibility issues. I mean, what does that, just as a human, to think that we have dangerous people out here that could have been stopped already?
It's a tragedy in both directions, frankly. It is for the public being put at risk, for folks who may have been DWI and either weren't charged or even weren't given the opportunity to avail themselves of the resources of a DWI program to deal with their addiction.
Yes.
On the flip side, some of these people we don't know could have been falsely accused. None of these cases were tested in court. Right? And the problem when we don't test cases in court is we don't know what actually happened.
All right, a miscarriage of justice any way you look at it.
Yes.
U.S. Attorney Alex Ubias, thank you so much for joining us, giving us some insight, and we would love to have you back as more of the waterfall continues to fall.
It's been great to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Trevor?